All right, what is up, sports fans? We are back for another episode of Brotherly Love here on That Sports Network. I got a fun one for you lined up this evening. We got one of the guys behind Fourth and Jawn, Mr. Gayle Saunders, going to be joining us. Let's show him some love, folks, and introduce him. Gayle, how we doing this evening, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's usually when we hook up, it's usually at a tailgate randomly, and we're just,
Yeah,
drinking a
well,
cold one.
I'm sure I'll see you at practice in
A
about a
couple
week,
weeks,
right?
couple weeks. Yeah, I'm excited, man. The season's right around the corner. I honestly had to for the last 3 weeks, I had to force myself to be quiet and make sure you do all the things around the house before you take off across the country following the Eagles for the next 6 months. It's gonna be crazy.
See, it's that you're not like the typical fan. Obviously, you've been a season ticket holder. You travel very well with the team. On top of a media thing. So, what is your off season compared to like obviously athletes are way different, but how's it for you? Because you're literally traveling around. Playoffs, the whole nine. You're an extension of our Eagles. So what's your off season like?
Well, it's kind of like the content we kind of wanted to create is kind of like a boots on the ground. Give you, I have a analyst background, but just the fan and part of me took over. So I'm a fanalist, not an analyst, but just being present during road trips or home games. Just the level of energy you get to feel every week it's a high like no other. Like I never thought I would. If you would have asked me 15 years ago, could you see yourself traveling the country following the Eagles? No, I mean it's been sometimes I got to pinch myself because it's like you're like, am I allowed to have this much fun? But it's just crazy to meet all these Eagle fans from all over the world that follow this team. So it's the off season consists of I was down at the Senior Bowl first. My draft season is I take it seriously. I don't get sleep. I study the players. I fly to Alabama. I interview. I get intel. Quinyon Mitchell was my guy. Got to meet him down there. Got a lot of intel. So I was high on him early on. So just getting it starts with the draft season, and then after the draft, I get a chance to just relax, unplug for a couple weeks, and kind of just get ready for the season. We do the Eagles Autism Challenge every year, so got an opportunity to mingle with the rookies. They all signed the helmet. Got to talk to them. I feel like we got a great group of guys, but I'm excited to see these dudes. I mean, it's just
I know.
now.
I mean, here we are. Training camps here. It's officially getting down the last 40 days or so. I think we're at until you guys are in Brazil, man. So it's here. We're just a little bit over a month away.
I just got in the mail. Got the passport. So
there you go. There's the key right there.
Got it renewed. Shout out to Philly Sports Trips. We'll be flying down with them and experiencing. I mean, that's one thing. It's like Brazil, Eagles, Packers. When it was first announced, I was like, "Did they say Brazil?" I'm like, "Am I gonna go to Brazil?" Yeah, I'm going to Brazil. So I think that's the master plan. First part of the trip is in Rio. Second half is all business in Sao Paulo.
I was about to ask, you're gonna beat her. You got to hit Rio, right?
Yeah, it's the funny thing. I met some Brazilian Eagle fans. They have a Brazilian podcast. There's a crazy amount of Eagle fans in Brazil. They let me know that they wanted me to tell the people, the Eagle fans, that the misinformation about it's not going to be safe, that if you're wearing Eagles colors, they're like we totally understand. The people down here understand that the Eagles are coming, the Packers are coming. They understand it's not. You're not going to get.
What was that one? Another one of those fake news reports?
Yeah, I was like, and I could understand from their standpoint because this is a big deal. Like Eagles are coming to their hometown, and they're so proud for us to be there. So I think overall, I think it's a great opportunity to kind of spread the Eagles love.
I agree. I think we knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I'm glad it's the first game of the season, so it's not all craziness having to go here, there, all over the place. We all know like kind of the last preseason game isn't really a preseason game, so it's they can prepare for this problem. I think that's literally I'm glad we finally got the international game. Two, I'm glad it was the first week of the season, and three, Brazil, man. I mean, and the funny thing is, it's Eagles Packers, and you literally have the two most greenest teams you could ever have to go to.
What are we gonna wear? We're gonna wear
Right?
the ugly powder blue jerseys with the yellow, or our
Yeah,
Packers
so
would
that's
wear
what
the
I'm
brown
saying.
and blue. I think yeah, I've always wanted to go to Brazil, and I hate traveling, to be honest. Like I hate flying. So the Eagles are. That's what it takes for me to get on a plane.
Oh,
I'll
so
fly for the Eagles.
we don't like flying, and the Eagles are making Gale get on a plane. Look at that.
It's just a matter of you just like, all right, you got to live your life. You gotta live the dream that you talk about, and when you get down there, experience the randomness of Eagles fandom. It's cool to see. Like it's cool to see an Eagle fan like in Seattle and how they interact. The ones that are down in Texas, they all feel like they're loners. The West Coast Eagle fans are just they feel like they're neglected. And there's just Eagle fans from I met a whole bunch from London, Ireland, and Scotland. They're like a whole different breed. But Brazilian fan, I'd love to see it in person. You know,
It's gonna be interesting. I'm sure you guys are gonna have a blast, especially uh, you're going down. Is the whole crew going down? How many of the Fourth and John peeps are gonna be
it's
there?
I'm the only one that's going. They had to get the okay from their wives. That didn't happen. I'm bringing my wifey with me. So
Smart
she's like,
man, understands
yeah,
how to get things done.
like I feel like if you turn it into a vacation, when people are just like, it's too much to go to, or but this is my vacation this year.
Exactly.
And the Eagles are
Turn
so
into two different things, right?
just happen to be playing. But I think I just think about this Eagles offense, so explosive. It has the potential to be so explosive. It feels weird that the first time you get to see Saquon in the Eagles jersey in Brazil.
It's not even going to be in the States.
It's kind of weird because that's a home game for us. If I'm not mistaken.
Right. That was the only thing I was irritated. I'm like, why you guys steal a home game from us?
That's one less tailgate at home.
Exactly.
Well,
technically, it's not since you're gonna be there, and obviously you're gonna figure out a way to do some some type of Fourth and John from down there in Brazil.
Do they have any pork? The question is, do they have pork roll in Brazil? I like to have a pork roll early in the morning before every tailgate. I try.
I ain't been to the tailgate, man. Listen. If this is the first time you're coming across Gale, make sure you go down to the tailgate if you're an Eagles fan at some point in time this year. I always want to run into these knuckleheads, regardless to get if it's a regular season game, preseason game, practice, whatever. I'm always running into these guys. They're probably one of the most welcomest type of group when we're talking about I guess companies that kind of do this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I thought was the coolest thing about you guys is when we have opposing teams come through and you have other fans come through. 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have something thrown at you when you're in Philadelphia. Not with Fourth and Gate, Fourth and John. The Gale is in the guys that we give them a little ribbing, but give them a few words and send them on their way. Make sure they get home to their family and things of that nature. Other tailgates, you may not be so lucky.
Brotherly love, man. Like we
Exactly.
have fun. We have fun with fans. Someone will show up with like generic clothes on. I'm like, bro, I know you're You're like, you don't have to. Like, I can smell you. I can smell you a mile away. I can tell by your mannerisms. But it's cool. I was like, you're welcome here. At the end of the day, shout out to Evan, Hollywood Hearn, and Primo Prime. It takes a special group to actually pull that off, and the fact that Bud Light and Red Bull and Conshohocken Italian Bakery, my boy Alex, he'll come and make tacos. They just want to give back, and the fact that people are just like, how do you guys do this? Well, if we didn't have sponsors to help, we wouldn't be able to throw a party that's free every week. And again, the vibes, that's just really about, like, you get to meet some of the most diehard Eagle fans on the planet weekly.
We talked a lot about the fans. Obviously, training camp is here. You did a little bit talking about it. It's a shame that we're going to see that offense in Brazil for the first time. Camp is here. Pads are on. Who are you most excited to see get in there and get your first look?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Saquon is one of my best friends. Is a Giants fan, so I've been like ribbing him for like years, because I said by the time you get done, Saquon's gonna be an Eagle, and he never wanted to hear that. The fact that he's on this offense and doesn't have to do much, I think he's gonna be a tremendous chain mover. I think with AJ and Devontae and Dallas Goedert in this line, I feel like explosive runs from Jalen under center, like more pistol, please. No more shotgun inside zone run, like please. Like, I think things should be different. I'm really excited to see what Saquon brings, but
I'm with you with Saquon and the offense and things of that nature. I mean, the fact that this has happened, regardless of the fact that he was a Giant, regardless, you get one of the top 5 running backs in the league to jump ship in his prime, basically. I'm thinking we're going to get the last few years of his prime before he does eventually hit that wall and tail off that every running back does. But I think the other thing I think people aren't talking about enough is we lost a lot of leadership the last few years, and he's one of those quality guys. Walter Payton Man of the Year type guys that they're invaluable, regardless of how special he is on the field. That, I think, was probably the thing that I'm taking the most, because you cannot replace a Jason Kelce. Man, leader, you're not going to be able to replace him. And it sucks for Cam Jurgens, because he's got the biggest shoes to fill for any center of all time, in my opinion. I mean, we watched a lot of centers over the years, right? Tell me that Cam Jurgens don't have the biggest role to fill as far as a center, coming into a starting role in this league over the last 20 years.
I think it's tough for him to even think about even filling up those shoes. I remember, being at Lehigh training camp, and the first time we set eyes on Jason Kelce. I took a photo of it. It's one of my favorite photos I've ever took, because he looked like the Geico caveman.
Right?
Yeah. The fans were like, "Who is this caveman looking dude?" He was super undersized. Like, we never thought he'd replace the centers before him, and just who became. I think Cam Jurgens, who's handpicked by Kelce himself. I think he was in a good room, incubator system with Kelce, and also the fact that we had him playing our right guard. I think out of position, but Stowlin said it best. He said, what better guy to learn on the fly with next to Jason Kelce? And I didn't really think about that in terms of
like, even though Cam got hurt, but I wholeheartedly agree with Jeff there. Having that experience playing guard, the last year and a half or so, however that worked out, I think was invaluable for Cam. And then another steal that Howie does, you bring in the kid from the Jets who's an absolute monster, and he looks like he's going to fill right in there right guard. Here we go again.
I mean, my thing is that you're creating competition. Like, obviously, if you think Steen is ready or not, or Becton, like I have videos in my phone saved of Becton's game against us when we played the Jets. Go back. You can go to YouTube. You'll see it. He looked like Thanos throwing people around. The strength was on. You could see it yourself. All our guys. I'm talking Hassan. Talking about Sweat. I'm talking about BG. He threw people out of the club, and now you're getting the Stoutland tutelage. On top of that, I think, and he's in a position where he's on a 1-year deal. These 1-year deal opportunities for, like, the journeyman that could, like the DeAndre Swifts last year, like, these are great opportunities for those guys to play hungry and play tough. So between him and Steen, I think may the best man win, but Becton's tough.
Oh, everyone's also forgetting about, you got Matt Hennessy, and then also you got the kid from Michigan in the draft.
Yeah.
We got so many guys that can fill in and plug in. God forbid somebody goes down or whatever. And as you were just talking about, making competition on that offensive line is never a bad thing. We still have, as you were saying, we still got Steen. There, we're in a good position where we go back 25, 30 years. We weren't in this blessed situation where you could go down a list and say, I feel confident that this guy could pop in and give you 2-3 games, and God forbid you lose this guy or that guy.
Yeah.
We
all know Big V.
Back that long, most of the fan base would be pulling out their hair. Oh man, the season's over. The sky is black and falling. The typical Philadelphian vibe of what happens every once in a while, right?
I mean, who would have thought Big V would have been who he was for us in that Super Bowl run? He would have never thought it. But he played out of his mind. Again, like, you would have loved to have got a young swing tackle in the draft. The draft didn't fall that way. I mean, Becton that was a perfect signing for us, that you could play swing. And then if you want to move him inside, like, to see what works, I just think it's just great, dude. I think the offensive line, I think the left side of the offensive line is just the big bopper, they call him, in Landon Dickerson. And then Melata has come into his own as a leader in his leadership. And just me,
he's arguably a top 10 left tackle in the league now.
And
From a guy who wasn't playing the sport 5 years ago.
I did a mock draft back in the day, and I put Jordan Mailata in the 7th round of my mock, and people laughed at me, and they said, the rugby player? I'm like, I said, bro, do the intel, do the road work, do the math.
And then he winds up here.
If Stoutland is down in Florida at that high school where he's got eyes on this rugby player, like, he held his hand through the whole process, and then I saw him move with his feet. I'm like, bro, this guy's sweet feet. And here, it's just funny to see him grow. I met him a couple of times, and just seeing his character. It has, I seen him break down the huddle just recently in some of the videos. I'm like, this guy's done full circle. Went from literally unknown to, like, he's kind of like his own. He's like a superhero on the stage singing, and then in the locker room, he's a well-loved dude. So I feel like it's his time to shine.
Yeah, and speaking of night and day, let's get into this position battle, and I think me and you are going to be in the same boat here. What's the position battle that you're looking forward to here?
I mean, there's a couple of them, but the cornerback position, just we spoke earlier about Quinyon and him being my guy. Like, that's the guy that I wanted for the Eagles. But then you have Isaiah Rodgers, who, he's become a fan favorite. Hasn't set foot on field, but, like, from what I've heard from, on the inside, like, he's flashed. And I feel like there's just so much more to this group than I think a lot of people think. Obviously Darius Slay is holding down the fort. Cooper DeJean, aka DeJohn, that we started early back when no one was talking about DeJohn. But DeJohn, I think he's great on the inside. I think him and Quinyon pre-draft were both of the guys that they literally look like Vic Fangio dudes. And I was like, if we can get those two dudes or just one of them, I obviously didn't think we can get both. But if we can get one of them, they both had the skill set to play in the defense. But I feel like you got to be smart and be in this defense, and you got to be able to communicate. I think the way they switch off guys, the different coverage packages, that's the difference, difference maker. And then you have the safeties. But I mean, if stick to corner, Keely Ringo, I'm wondering where
we're so deep at corner. People don't even realize that. Like, all right, it was bad last year. It was. We're not going to talk. A lot of fans here kind of think it was kind of scheme, and these guys weren't able to kind of just make adjustments as some of these veterans normally do. But as you said, we still have Darius Slay. Quinyon Mitchell's probably gonna be CB2 when we start the season. You go and draft the Cooper DeJean. You still have Ringo. You still have Eli Ricks, who did really good in
Josh Jobe as well.
You have Avonte Maddox coming back. You have a McPherson coming back. I mean, like, it's going to be a problem. Someone's going to get picked up off of the practice squad this year. Let's be honest.
Traded. Yeah, I mean, and Bradbury is actually.
I think Bradbury is going to be the trade target they're talking about moving in the same. Listen. We all know what's going to happen. He's going to get moved either for a positional player, maybe a new third slot corner or slot wide receiver, or he's going to get traded for a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I love what James did to help us go on that Super Bowl run. I don't think he's ever recovered from that penalty. Honest, like in his head, he's still a man and goes and plays football, whatever. I still think he has not recovered from that. I still think he holds that to his heart, and it is affecting the way he plays on the field.
I got an opportunity to go to Brian Dawkins' golf tournament, and I got a chance to just chop it up with Dawkins for like half hour. We sitting there talking football. It was the best thing ever. But we talked. I said Dawkins. I said, what is your take on James Bradbury and his ability to go from a Pro Bowl season to what you saw last year? And I said, I'd love to hear your take on it. And he's just like, too many cooks in the kitchen. He said the fact that you saw a veteran struggle like that and set him up, the fact that we didn't set him up for success, he brought it back to Nnamdi Asomugha. He said the fact that you bring somebody in for their strengths, right? So you play to those strengths. He's like, the fact that we had him in the slot at particular times, he's like, that's not his strength. He doesn't deal well with quick twitch. Everyone knew that. And the fact that we had young guys and two defensive coordinators, and communication wise, I felt like that was lacking. We're talking about interchangeable at slot. We're talking about safeties losing Chauncey, and then Blankenship went down with injury. It was such a mixed bag of how many guys that we have started slot, like 10 or 11 dudes. We got a huge amount of intel this year. Obviously, I don't always report it on the timeline to just put it out there for I love this team. I don't, but I had to get an understanding. I really had to get an understanding, and that's when I feel like I need to get understanding. I'll ask questions. And the main overall feeling was that what you thought, the fans thought what was going on, the craziness of that's how it was. People, as much as it was crazy. What we got back was just coaches were coaching for their life. It was a toxic environment, what I heard. And it's the stuff that you hear, and I try to not, play into it too much. But when I hear it from certain people, then it's all right, now I have to
I have to pay attention to this.
But I really do think it's the chemistry will be the biggest difference of where this team goes. And I think the amount of Eagle fans that ask me questions about the Eagles on a daily basis, I said, regardless of what happened last year, I'm glad it happened because they got to see what the difference of between a team with chemistry and a team with no chemistry, and you see where the difference is. And now we have talented. I'm not gonna say talented. We have a seasoned defensive coordinator, and Kellen Moore. I think he'll be a breath of fresh air.
I think this is probably the best team that he's ever been around. And like everyone's like sitting there like, oh, Nick Sirianni's on a lame duck contract. He's on the hot seat. I'm like, yeah, he's on the hot seat with a guy who's aching for a head coaching spot with a team that has a spotlight on him this season with all the weapons he could ask for. If I was Kellen Moore, I would have signed that contract as well. Where do I go? I mean,
yeah. I mean, you say that. I mean, how would you react if your job, you knew the guy that interviewed for your job is now in the building, in your offense? He's eating your food. He's, I'm again, the Sirianni CEO coach it's fine and everything. I'm just saying I think it holds everyone to a level of accountability, and I think
not just that, but was what we were just talking about with everything else. It's a competition. Nick's gonna see that, and he's gonna see Kellen's this as young guy as he is. I'm not sure the actual age numbers here, but I mean it's one of those things where I think it's conducive to a winning environment because of everything else that these guys have persevered already. They've gotten almost to the tip of the mountain with losing close to obviously we don't have everyone from the 17 run, but from 2 years ago we still have a good portion of this nucleus together. These guys know how to win together. They know how to lean on each other and when to lean on each other. I think now that you have the coordinators, you have a couple more pieces on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be interesting to see how the linebacker situation is because anyone who's been a Philadelphia fan, we haven't seen one in a while. You bring in a guy like Devin White, you still have a guy like Nakobe Dean, and then you bring in a Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and you still have Nolan Smith and these other guys.
Yeah, I think the Devin White signing, to me, it was an opportunity for them. Like, actually, let's just not throw things at the wall. Obviously, you get a guy who's hungry on a 1-year deal, wanted to get paid. I think his leadership role with a new team, I feel like he could be one of the lifeblood dudes in the middle of the field. I think him as a blitzing linebacker from Fangio doesn't blitz a ton, but when you can blitz out of zone, I think Devin White is a guy who can get there. But I think Nakobe Dean, I don't think the book's closing him, man. I know a lot of Eagles fans like, oh, he's done. He's never going to make it here. It's not over yet. It's not over. I just feel like he hasn't had an opportunity to show it. And I think frustration, he's got to be frustrated. But again,
I don't know if anyone watched film last year. He was really close to making a couple big plays last year.
It's just
making plays.
He wasn't healthy.
And we always hear this euphemism, it's a game of inches. It's so much in football people don't understand.
Yeah. I think overall the defense, you got some guys that got some seasoned reps with the Georgia boys. Finally got some years under their belt. I think.
I mean, I think the as much as it hurts losing Fletch, I think the defensive line will probably you see the most fire from because they have the most approved. Jordan Davis has the most approved. Jalen Carter most approved. You still got Milton in the mix there. Everyone's forgetting about Milton, man.
This is really his year to shine. He wants to make some money. People forget about Tui Pelotu, who he's given us some valuable reps as depth. I think Moro Ojomo is still a young guy. He's still, what is he, 21 now? He can finally drink a beer. He's developing as we go. I think, I do feel like I would love to see a veteran in here. I think mid-season, there's definitely going to be a trade for the interior.
You think the guy from Pittsburgh is rumors true, or is it just the normal nonsense rumor mill BS?
I was checking out Steelers content just to see, first of all, I'm not giving up a second, not getting second and a fourth or second and a fifth for a 35-year-old guy.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's what, 34, 35?
Yeah, he wants to get paid. So, like, are you committing to 2 years to a 35-year-old? We just seen people, lose their shit over a soon-to-be 30-year-old who's 29. Hassan Reddick trying to get paid. Like, are we going to give a 35-year-old
here, right? You just brought him in for a reason, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like interior-wise, I mean, Hampton would be he's tough against the, but it's like that's just too much.
I agree. I'm not giving you a second.
I'd give that to
take the second off the board and we can start having a conversation.
I give that to Aaron Donald and get him out of retirement. Like, yeah,
so who's the Eagle that makes the biggest statement this season? Obviously AJ Brown was the guy that blew us all. We all know how good AJ was, but he literally took it to a whole nother level last season, put us on his back and carried us through the first half of the season. No one can argue that.
But I talked about
that does it this season.
Man, I talked about Saquon. I think he's got some FU in him. But like if I'm gonna just pick someone different, I think I do feel like Chauncey being in this defense, I think
he brings a swagger to that defense we sorely missed last season.
For sure.
And I think it's going to be fun to watch them play on the back end this year.
I think there's a level of mental toughness. I think he's got the Joker in him. Yeah, a marble was missing, but I like that marble being missed because I feel like he does things that on the football field where these guys make millions, but he doesn't make business decisions. He'll put his body on the line. He's a guy that I've been following before he got since Florida.
I have been a Penn State junkie most of my life.
Yeah.
So watching Saquon go to the Giants hurt my soul beyond belief.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, man. I think not only does he have some FU in him, and I think he's absolutely going to roast the Giants when he plays him over the next 3 years when he's here. But I think he's going to have one of those Christian McCaffrey type years, like one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's got 90 yards rushing, 130 receiving, things like that. Like you're gonna see those games out of Saquon. You're gonna get that he's gonna have those games where he goes completely off the wall, and then the next week it's gonna be AJ, or it's gonna be Devontae, or it's gonna be Dallas, or it's gonna be Jalen putting him on the back with his legs. I still think Jalen's been playing hurt. And that it's not something that it's so much that it has to be on the injury report, but he just looks different at times when he's running the ball, things of that nature. So I think he's another one I would put on that radar too. He's got a revenge tour coming up, if you ask me, and he's one of those guys when you punch him in the mouth, he answers.
Yeah, I got a chance to go to the Devontae Smith softball game. It was very cool to watch Saquon with his people. Because, like, the softball game was in Allentown. That's where he's from. So everybody showed up for Saquon. And just it was like like you talked about that leadership quality, just the way that players handle themselves. The way that he handled himself, like, he handles the crowd well. Like he's like, moving people in and out, sign out, you next, I'm coming to you, come over here, and shaking hands. Like he's like, he's kissing, like he knows what to do. And the fact that he knows like he's very aware. If you watch some of the interviews, his whole process, the way how he, I'm not gonna say he's it's not calculated, but he's just aware of who he is, and I think that's the coolest thing. Just watching him be on our squad. I know he grew up a Jets fan, which was I was doing my intel just thinking about like, all right, he grew up in Allentown. He's got to be like an Eagles fan, but obviously he was a Jets fan. But I think the way that people like my girl's family is from Bethlehem, Allentown area. The way they speak about Saquon is like he could have been like a knight fighting. Like they tell stories of him in high school. Like in Allentown, he's like beloved, man. So I feel like he's got an opportunity to play for his hometown people, even though obviously Jets fan and play for the Giants. It's just a weird the way that he was handled by the Giants. I don't know if you saw the
play out now in
crazy
fashion. If you're, like I said, if you're not only an Eagles fan, if you're a Giants fan, oh my God, I'm having an utter meltdown. And hearing his, I forget who interviewed him, but they basically said I guess they asked him about what came out in that episode, and he was like, once I got that phone call, I knew it was over, and I wasn't calling him back.
It's funny because friends of friends hit me up, and they said they were, they knew his agent. So we got intel that it was down to the Texans and the Eagles who put the most money up. And it was like the night before, and I was like, dude, I'm like, like a kid on Christmas. I'm like sending like.
Waiting for them to announce free agency has launched, right?
And I'm like sending it to my Giant homies. I work in New York City, so half of my coworkers are Giants fans. So I'm like, yo, Saquon, we're getting him tomorrow. And they're like, no, I didn't see anything reported. I'm like, I'm telling you now. To go into work in Manhattan with the Eagles shit on and like walk into the office and to see them crushed, their souls were crushed. It was that was the best work day ever. I was like, I could work 12 hours straight. Because everybody to this day, even every time I come in, like, oh, you got to wear their Eagle shit. It's gonna be a nice ride. I just feel like I just want to. I don't know. I got the vibe early on with this team so far. So far, so good. I think we're in good hands.
I think the only thing that stops us is injuries. It's the only thing that can.
You mentioned Jalen Hurts and being the injury. Not like it showed up on the injury report every week, but just from being in the stadium, watching him get up off the sidelines, he was injured. And hats off to him for getting up and competing. But hopefully, I got an opportunity to talk to him at the jersey signing. It was hilarious because he's like, yo, bro, I feel like I see you everywhere, man. He's like we went to his football camp last year. We sent a drone. We gave his whole crew our footage, and just great to see him work with the kids and just do his thing. But I felt like he knows what went wrong, and one of his main reasoning for this event was to set the tone. He's like, with the fans, he doesn't have to come to the stadium, sign jerseys and meet fans and whatever, but he wanted to set the tone. He said, like, it starts with me. Like, it starts with me. Like, he's going to change the narrative. It starts with him. So he knows what happened. There's some stuff that happened, especially with the stuff that I've heard. There's just stuff that happened, but I feel like, again, all that stuff needed to happen in order for these guys to get here. And, at the end of the season, he talked about his leadership qualities and leading in a different way. And I feel like that's where he's focused on. I feel that. I feel like that's where he's at.
I get irritated that people were like, oh, he has this, fuck his demeanor on the sideline, dude. Like if he wants to look like somebody just somebody just freaking gave him sour milk and he's pissed off. Let him sit there and be pissed off. That's how he deals with it.
I mean, Brady has a moment. Like everyone, every player is gonna have moments. It's not gonna always be pretty.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna throw a tablet. Like it's gonna happen. I just feel like it's just a maturation process. Like we've seen multiple players go through this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Peyton Manning was like the guy when he first got there. He didn't become like everyone knew he was a good quarterback. He had a good arm, but like I don't think everyone knew what type of leader and quarterback and man he was until he was like in his fifth, sixth season.
Yeah.
So it's like they all go through that process. No matter if you won early in your career, late in your career, whatever. They as a quarterback, you all go through points and things that you have to go through as a leader, as the guy that everyone looks to in that huddle. So it's interesting to see how it plays out. I think he's handling it the right way, not only here in Philadelphia but nationally in general. Just I think he's the guy that gets it. I think you're going to see a lot of guys with chips on their shoulder in that Eagles locker room this year. They want that taste out of their mouth as fast as possibly can.
It's funny because we got an opportunity to meet with Jalen before the season started last year. It was like 20, 25 of us in the locker room. And it was a very small, quaint moment. It was like he didn't want people to take out their phones. It was really he wanted it to be a pure moment. He's like, this is for you really want to have this dialogue. And it was really one guy was like trying to sneak his phone, Eagle fans just trying to sneak his phone. He's like, like this whole thing does not start until you put your phone away. So he was very just detailed about. He wanted to be like, he wanted to get it out there that like, he's like, my style of leadership is different. He's like, I'm a servant leader. I serve my group of guys. He's like, I'm not a rah-rah guy. He said it right off. He's like, that's not how I lead. And again, like him saying that at the beginning of the season, this is when we're 0-0. There's no record yet. Just seeing his transformation of like the 10-1 and then the meltdown at the end of the season, just like wondering where, and then his exit, one of the exit interviews talking about that leadership and how he has to lead a different way. And I feel like if he learned anything, I think last season was a learning lesson, and as much as people hate an L's a learning lesson, like how like, that's how he is. Like if you I was down in Alabama, just talking to Alabama fans at the Senior Bowl, walking down the street. He is beloved. Our Bama players on our team are loved down in Alabama. So these guys have been built for this.
I think this team is built to overcome, and I think we're going to be in for a fun season. I think you've already kind of touched on some things that there's something special about this team.
Yeah, I mean, you just you just want to see it. Like on paper is on paper. July 27th has been marked on my calendar. Oh, July 29th on Monday, I'll be at the NovaCare. If you get an opportunity to go to a NovaCare private practice, it's like being in heaven, and like it's the best thing if you're a diehard. Just seeing them up close and getting the first look at them, I'm excited, man. Like I just want to see it real. Seeing these one-on-ones is really, those one-on-one reps is really what you want to see. It'll be interesting because they can't take those away from you. Like when you see the one-on-ones, you can see who can play and who can't right away.
Now, as we're getting ready to wrap this one up, my last one, I always like to ask everyone, and it's a different variation every time. This one we're gonna go. Who is your current Philadelphia Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixer, any Philadelphia athlete? Who's your current Philadelphia athlete, Mount Rushmore?
I mean, I do talk about the Eagles 24/7, so it's more Eagles related. So for me, I'm gonna go Brian Dawkins. Um, he's just a winner off the field, on the field. Just that little the passion alone.
He's just a special dude. Period.
Hair on the back of your neck stands like listen to him talk. That you realize why people would run through a wall for him. I'll go Nick Foles. I'm a big Randall guy, and I had to you're forcing me into putting a quarterback up there. I mean, the Super Bowl was on my birthday. Nick Foles made my birthday the best day ever. I felt like he played possessed in those last couple of weeks and in the Super Bowl. Something I'll never forget. The underdog, that was just who he was, and he embodies that in the city. I think Reggie White, if you're talking about a legend gone too soon, a guy who, Hall of Fame, a guy who won a Super Bowl with the Packers. Hated to see him leave. I hated the fact that they didn't offer him a contract. It was ridiculous. But again, I think for those who were too young enough to see him play, I got to see him when I was a kid. He's still, to this day, legitimately one of the best. Last but not least, I'm putting Jason Kelce up there. I think Jason Kelce, again, going back from those early Lehigh days and watching him grow into who he was as a leader on that Super Bowl team. He's a soundbite machine. I think what he's done off the field
will play forever in every Philadelphia's home.
He's that dude, and I think he continues to be that dude. And much success to his podcast, and his whole family is legendary. So
I love that he's still around. Like you're hearing all these reports, from Lane. He's like he's here more than anyone right now. He's still in the building. When you guys talking about, he's not retired.
Yeah, I mean, there's a potential opportunity as coach, Kelce. It's kind of weird. Like he's keeping his stuff in the coaches.
I think he'll have Jeff's job when Jeff hangs it up. I promise you.
And that's one of his family. I promise. He loves to say that. I just think he's shout out to Prime. He was at his event down. I gave him some stickers, and his wife is actually a big Transformer fan. So Prime gave her a Transformer Eagles helmet and some stickers. So she said that he put the stickers on the back of his Tesla truck. So I'm like, I need to see proof of this. You got the 4th and Jawn and Prime's Eagles Prime helmet. So that's it. Yeah, man. He's just legendary.
Is that a regular truck or the Cyber truck that Kelce has?
He's got the Cyber truck. I actually saw it at Brian Dawkins' golf event, and I was watching Kelce and Dawkins talk. I'm like, what do two goats talk about? Like, what is Kelce? These were his words. He said, anytime you need me, big dog, I'm here. He let Dawkins know he's there to support. He can golf though too. Got a nice little swing, Kelce.
What about you? What's your over under golfing, Gale?
I don't.
He's like, I ain't golfing, bro. No.
I'll hit some golf balls, but I've never actually just golfed.
You never did an 18 before?
Never. I mean, I can hit some golf balls, but people are just like, yo, you golf? I'm like, nah, I just used to play baseball, and I just, relieve some stress. I should learn though. I don't like to lose though.
I mean, you got to think how many of the guys in the area golf? A lot of them do.
Yeah, It's
Yeah, I think you still have Jaworski owns how many golf courses across the tri-state area?
I went to his event and they were like putting together the teams for the outing. So they announced them on the screen, and they were someone asked like, "Hey, do you want to golf?" No problem. I wish, like there was everyone.
I'm
Man.
not embarrassing myself today. Thank you very much.
But where's the free food at? Let me work my way over to the Great Poupon over there. But yeah, that's. I mean, maybe next year. You got to come out to one of these.
Get yourself some time to get your reps up and figure out how to get your game going.
You should do the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation golf tournament, dude.
Why not? Right?
If you're the golfer, so be it.
No, I'm definitely not the golfer. I was just asking in general because you're always going to the events. You're always going, man. You might as well lace them up and have some fun.
I'm there to talk. I'm there for the intel. I'm there for the vibes.
Socialize and have some fun, my friend.
I just sat there.
Get a few beers in me. Relax.
I just sat there with my camera, took some photos, made people look good, promote the event. That's what I'm there for.
All right, Gayle. As we get ready to wrap this one up, what I typically do at the end is throw kind of the proverbial microphone to you, where you kind of end your own interview. If anyone you would like to thank, shoot out the social media sites, let everyone know where to follow you guys. If you guys have any sponsors, you guys have, give them some love. The time is yours, my friend.
If you want to follow us at 4th and Jawn on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, come on out to the tailgate. Shout out to the guys at 4th and Jawn. Shout out to Tim Kincaid. Shout out to Evan Hollywood Hearn. Shout out to Prime. Shout out to Hollis. Just we do tailgates. It's if you guys are down at Eagle home game, have no friends, you want to catch a vibe, we're there. We with the help of Bud Light, Conshohocken Italian Bakery, Red Bull, you name it. They help us out put on a free event. All you got to do is bring the vibes. Evan Hollywood Hearn is on the grill making cheesesteaks. It's a great vibe, great opportunity to meet people in the community. Take your online presence offline and meet people, good Eagle fans, and catch the vibes. At the end of the day, we're talking Eagles 24/7 on our podcast. We record every Tuesday at 6:30. I'm ready for the season, and go Birds.
I think we're all ready for the season, brother. I think we're done with the waiting. We're done with it all. If we'd have it our way, we do. We get the remote from the movie Click and fast forward to Brazil, brother.
I'm going to be honest. I need these NovaCare practices first, and then we can fast forward to preseason. I don't want to see preseason. I want to see practices, and then Brazil. Here we come.
One thing's for sure, I will definitely see you August 1st at the tailgate, as per always.
Yes, sir.
We got to come up with some things this season. I want to link up with you guys with a few more things. I'm actually getting ready to launch another program through this, but it's not going to be here. One of my sponsors is he's going to be renting out a studio. We're going to have a whole nother podcast name. He's going to be paying to bring some athletes in too, is whatever. So.
Nice.
We got a lot of fun stuff we're getting ready to work on.
I can't wait to hear what you got going on, man.
Yeah, man. Listen. You know me, man. I always try to keep it fun. Our platform may not be as big as what you guys have built over there at 4th and Jawn. I've moved around a lot over the last few years, but I have fun here. We like to keep everything, everything in a matter, in a certain vibe, and do things in a fun way, dude. We're probably gonna have Sean Merriman back on here in a couple weeks, regardless if it's for the start of the season or he's got an MMA event that's this coming weekend. I think it's July 28th on the other side, and he said he after this event he's gonna be getting out of California. He's gonna be doing some more events throughout the United States. He was here in Philly 6 months ago, so you never know.
Sean Marion. I haven't heard that name in a minute.
And heard Sean in a while. It's funny. He was almost a WWE guy, and he almost was the guy that made his MMA debut for Greg Hardy when he got booted out of the league because he's a piece of giant POS and puts his hand on women.
Yep.
Sean was one of the first guys they reached out to.
Okay.
He wasn't in the testing pool and couldn't get himself ready in time for the fight, so the UFC went in a different direction. It's funny how close he was to being all this other stuff, and now he's promoting MMA.
That's awesome.
Cool dudes, man. You know,
I gotta get back into MMA. Like I was huge into it back when I first started. Dabbled in it, here and there.
How many fighters we got in Philly right now? Think about it. You got Sean Brady, Pat Sabatini, Joey Pfeiffer, Andre Petrovsky, Jeremiah Wells. So we got 6 guys 6 guys in the UFC right now.
Okay.
That's just in the UFC. That's not even talking about some of these regional guys that are good
Right.
and stuff that are making their way up now.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of talent in the city, combat sports wise too. Where we had Jaron Ennis just defended his title 2 weeks ago. He's I think like 20-something now or 30-something now as a pro boxer.
Yeah.
No one gives him any love. I know we love our Philly 4, but we got to give our combat sports guys some love too. They don't have whole teams around to support them, guys.
I need to dabble. I'm always like, there's a 4-for-4. I'm usually it's a 1-for-1 focused, but I do go to the Sixers, Phillies games, and I try to just I can just enjoy it. Like I do enjoy a good MMA fight here and there. So I feel like I need to show them love. Since you're talking about it.
Dana needs to bring him back to Philly and not just a fight night. He needs to give us a big pay-per-view. He hasn't done a big pay-per-view in Philly since I think it's UFC 133.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's did it in like Jersey and the surrounding areas,
right.
But for the most part, it's been the fight nights, the kind of smaller cards.
Hey, if WrestleMania can pull that kind of blood,
I just did WrestleMania with my son. That was effing nuts, brother.
Yeah, it was a good time. I should have went down there. It's like I live 15 minutes from the stadium. I don't know why I didn't go down there. I should have. I'm not. I used to be a huge fan back in the day, and I just haven't got back into it. But I was like, I should have went there for the vibes anyway. Yeah,
it's
tailgating.
I think something. You need to do something from the All-Star game is going to be here in 2 years.
Really, baseball.
Yeah, we got the All-Star games in Philadelphia in 2 years, so we got some time to plan this one.
Okay, tailgate happening. Say less.
All right, Gayle. Appreciate the time, brother. Definitely looking forward to catching up with you in a few days, and let's go Birds for this season. Clean injuries, and hopefully, a nice cold February parade.
Let's do it. It's around my birthday, so let's do it.
Exactly, my friend. Exactly. Peace out, Gayle. You have a good one, my friend. We'll
Peace out, bro.
See you in a few.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, exactly. All right, everyone. That was Gayles Saunders of 4th and Jawn. One of my favorite media. Well, he doesn't even really consider himself a media guy, but he is. That was a fun one. Make sure you guys are getting ready. This football season is right around the corner. We're 40-some days away. We're a handful of days away from training camp. And with that being said, make sure you guys are locked in here at the Sports Podcast Network. Make sure you're checking out not just my programming, but all our on-air personalities here, from Millie Goats to Blonde Blitz and everyone in between. Make sure you guys are showing us some love. Like, subscribe, follow, support. I'm Stephen Rochelle. This was another episode of The Brotherly Love here. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.